Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Wrestling Challenge review series. I'm excited to be doing this. Eventually, going to do Prime Time and a whole bunch of other shows I grew up on. But right now, Wrestling Challenge is the focus. We are going to go back and finish the Mid South Wrestling series as well. So we didn't give up on it. I'm just taking a break because sometimes watching the same product for years worth of content, hundreds of episodes, can get overwhelming. But right now, JYD and George Steele versus Jimmy Jack Funk and Horse Funk. Of course, Horse Funk, otherwise known as Dory Funk Jr., and this is the September 13th, 1986 edition. Jimmy Jack Funk, otherwise known as Jesse Barr. Jimmy Jack Funk is here for a little while, not that big a deal. JYD and George Steele, pretty regular people as a team during the 86 era, 87, late 86, early 87. Not seeing George Steele in person, one of my regrets. I had a couple chances to see George on independent shows in the early 2000s, late 90s, and I was booked elsewhere when he was in town, and then missed my opportunity because I was sick. But anyway, this match really pretty basic. Missed clothesline, and the Funks collide, and then Jimmy Jackson over the top rope. Lou Albano is the manager of George Steele, thus he's out there for this match. Jimmy Hart, the manager of, I hate to call them the Funks, I think it's insulting to Terry and Dory Sr. because, well, Jimmy Jack not an actual Funk, but anyway, Jimmy Jack goes to the second rope on the inside, manages to drop a fist drop, doesn't get all he wants on it, and JYD back to his feet relatively quickly. Jimmy Hart up on the apron, and then we see George Steele running around with a chair. Referee does not call for disqualification. Back suplex and a win for the Junkyard Dog there. Then we go, and Steele, and then we go to the wrestling rebuttal segment. Basically, the Hart Foundation make fun of the fans for making fun of them. That is, Jim Neidhart almost agrees with the fans that Bret Hart's hair is greasy, which I find funny because I always felt the same way, especially when I saw Bret on house shows in person. But anyway, Kamala and New England independent guy and enhancement talent standout Mario Mancini is up next. Kamala hits several shots, chops and punches, mainly to the throat and chest area, followed by a couple of chokes and eye gouges. He's out there with Kemshi and the Wizard otherwise known as King Curtis. Ayakea in this era, who later plays the Master in the Dungeon of Doom. Splash by Kamala gets a victory there. Albano discusses Steele's skills and attributes, basically talks about George Steele having a good heart on him, and the fact that going under the care of a psychologist, yes, I'm not kidding, has been good for George the Animal Steele. Then we move to him kind of talking about his involvement with multiple sclerosis and the charitable contributions there. Then we go to the Snake Pit, otherwise known as an interview segment for Wrestling Challenge. Hillbilly Jim is the nature of the Snake Pit. Jake still a heel, but kind of leaning babyface upon occasion. His full turn before WrestleMania 3, so probably turning somewhere within the next 4 or 5 months or so. But basically saying Hillbilly Jim, the snake could eat one of the farm critters, intimating that he's brought a pig with him and all of that. And that's actually, I did miss, I think I missed a match or two here. Not that that's, we can go back and cover that. But anyway, Hillbilly Jim and Cousin Luke are on after the Snake Pit, and they face off against Murdo and Kruger. Really basic match here. Hillbilly Jim, the best of the hillbillies at the time, but even he has a really basic style. Hillbillies, if you've never seen them, basically are a takeoff on the 1950s and 60s team, the Scufflin' Hillbillies, known down south. Anyway, Hillbilly Jim hits a hip toss, covered him in the TNT series, and where he fit into things. Anyway, a couple of shots there, and we see Jimmy Hart marking the Hillbillies in an inset promo. Punches, kicks, really basic stuff. Hillbilly Jim takes the majority of the match. Cousin Luke manages to miss an elbow. Enhancement Talent gets a couple of advantages there. The lock on the hip toss attempt doesn't get him over. And the up and over and around by the Enhancement Talent. But Luke manages a hip toss into the corner of his advantage. And ultimately, Hillbilly Jim comes in and kind of a double slam back body drop combination. And then we kind of see things with a bit of a tag off. And the Hillbillies are victorious. Rougeau brothers want a title opportunity. They want a title opportunity against, obviously, the British Bulldogs. They talk about having been there for a while, and it's a pretty big deal. Then we see a hype promo, I guess you'd say, for the Honky Tonk Man. He talks about dancing and wanting to get even with all the bad guys in the area. He's wearing his bluish jumpsuit, and that is a... He actually endorses Hulk Hogan during one of these promos, not this particular one, but Hunky is a babyface. Runs for the first few months that he's in the area, which is just kind of odd. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against Roger Kirby. Steamboat about 5 or 6 months away from winning the Intercontinental Championship. Also at this point, though, managing to talk a pretty good game and defeat the... defeat his adversary here. Steamboat, again, kind of a guy who never really fit in the WWF, and I know a lot of people... I am a huge Ricky Steamboat fan, but my love of him goes to Mid-Atlantic and Crockett and all of that, WCW and the like. His WWF run is actually both of them, both the 85 to 88 run and the 91 to early 92 run, kind of inconsequential. I mean, there are some good feuds, but nothing compared to his Flair run and all of that. Anyway, body slams by the Enhancement Talent after a hip toss, and Steamboat, who is always a bit of an overgiver when it comes to Enhancement Talent, hits a drop kick under the chin and manages to get a huge arm drag and the like. Really basic stuff there. And ultimately, Steamboat manages to come up with the arm bar, and Enhancement Talent gets brought back in the hard way with that. I really miss when guys worked body parts more. Today's current style is just, move, and it really, there's no competitive fight aspect to many deals. They go to what almost seems like a commercial, although it's edited out, of the network here, and the Enhancement Talent with several chokes tries to get an advantage there, tries to do everything he can, and actually takes a little longer with the match than one would expect. Kicks Steamboat behind the knee. Steamboat is obviously quite frustrated. Steamboat is able to take his man into the buckle and manages to eventually get the victory. But, I mean, this match actually feels more like a competitive match at times. Steamboat actually takes his back quite a few times, and Steamboat, goes off, hits a leapfrog over, up and through, and a big body slam by the Dragon, and ultimately... one thing I like Steamboat that he does is he kicks out with the bottom foot sometimes on body slams, just adding extra momentum, and a crossbody from the top rope for the victory here. Then we go to King Kong Bundy and John Studd. Bundy still around for about another year and a half or so, maybe a little less than that, but they face off against Billy Jack Haynes and Paul Roma. Interesting team there. Stud is leaving before WrestleMania 3, so Stud kind of is almost done at this point. His team with Bundy does get a small push. Actually surprised that they never got the tag team championships at the time. I could have imagined them kind of in a team in a Twin Towers type role from a couple of years later. Stud does come back for a short run in '89. Roma actually Haynes powers Stud up, almost slams him in the middle of this match, but that obviously doesn't go according to plan. Bobby Heenan is the manager, and Stud almost leaves his feet twice, but always holds on to the ropes and keeps things going in his general direction for his own benefit. Shots by Haynes. Haynes manages several punches and a short knee to the spine of Billy Jack Haynes, and kind of going there. Back elbow by Bundy. Bundy manages to do everything he possibly can, and hits the elbow drop 1, 2, and the female referee Rita Chatterton is the referee for this one. Of course, she is the lady that Vince McMahon eventually is accused of propositioning. Who knows what the truth is there, but Bundy misses a big splash in the corner. Roma comes in, goes completely nuts, manages to drop kick Bundy in the corner. Irish whip by Roma, reversed, and Stud manages to whip Bundy into an avalanche position. Stud then manages to knock his other opponent, Haynes, off the apron, and they get the victory. 6-man tag team match, which kind of seems relatively useless here as we see Volkov, the Iron Sheik, and the Mighty Hercules against 3 enhancement talents. And there's challenges there. Slick taking over the management of Volkov and the Sheik right around this time, if not maybe on this program or very soon thereafter. Obviously brawling with the enhancement talents, sent off the ropes, and a sunset flip attempt. I think one of them actually is Corporal Kirshner. And then, the heels kind of gather together. They get every advantage they can possibly get. The Sheik comes in, hits a couple of spots. Hercules comes back in. At this point, Hercules still is, I guess you'd say, aggressive, assertive, together enough to take things back in his general direction. Anyway, we see Volkov sending the opponent into the curly-toed boot of the Iron Sheik. That is not something that a lot of people are comfortable with. Big clothesline by, and of course, Classy Freddie Blassie is the one that owns the contracts of Sheik and Volkov. Blassie is done right around this time. He does still work for the company, but not in a on-the-road role. Hercules gets the victory with the backbreaker. Then we go to an interview segment with the Hart Foundation where they tear down other teams. They tear down the Bulldogs, the Killer Bees, and etc. As we close the program, we will return with more action right after this.